Give us the donut, the rosin, and when needed, even the pine tar.
Hey, so we Kennedy, so we
The International Diamond Center is proud to present On Deck with Jeff Cardozo and Steve Russell. For the next 60 minutes, we are peering into the box from 60 feet 6 inches.
Are you going to be impressed with a 500-foot home run?
Yeah. Power alley to power alley, we have you covered. Now, let's head out to the bump and join our Gators baseball radio broadcast battery. Here are Jeff and Steve.
Hey, how are you? Welcome once again to another edition of the On Deck Show. I'm Steve Russell. Jeff Cardozo will be alongside momentarily here as we talk Gator softball, Gator baseball, SEC, and even some Major League Baseball. Good week for me. Why? Gator softball took 2 out of 3 on the road. Gator baseball swept Missouri, and my Mets are winning. So guess what? A really good week for me. We're going to start off, though, with our questions of the week, and they are brought to you by Meldon Law. You can email your questions to questions@gatorshows.com. Ryan says, beating FSU in the sweep with the Tigers, the best medicine needed. Could this catapult some momentum into the team? Sure it could. But I did a little math. Florida's 4-11 in the SEC. 15 games in the league left. And if you get to 12 wins in the league, you got a shot. But I think most people are more comfortable with 13. So if that's the case, Florida has got to finish, 8-7 or 9-6 down the stretch. They have to play 2 of the league's best teams still in Texas on the road. Texas number 1 in the country this week. And then they play 2 of the worst teams, a 2-league win South Carolina team, although it's on the road. And then Jeff and I are going to be going to Starkville this weekend to face Mississippi State. They've got 5 wins, but they did take 2 out of 3 this past weekend. And Alabama is the final series of the year, and Bama's 8-7. The other team that Florida has to play is Arkansas. So it will not be easy. Missouri's really a bad team. I feel badly for them. They've been ravaged by injuries, especially at the pitching staff. But look, you can't feel sorry. So we'll see, Ryan, if it gets momentum for the Gators. Alex in Gainesville, what are the rules to make the SEC tournament? We have a shot to make it with our record. Yes, there's a shot, but a couple of teams don't make it. But right now, Florida would make it. Brittany in Gainesville, Lawson's walk-off, very entertaining and timely. How big do you think that hit will be down the stretch? I don't know, down the stretch. It was big at the time, Brittany, because, again, Florida has dug itself a hole in the league to the point it's got to keep winning games. Will in Gainesville, after a sweep against Missouri, do you like our chances of winning the next 2 series against State and Arkansas? Arkansas will be hard. Arkansas is a really good team. They're very balanced, good pitching, good hitting. I think that's been the problem with Arkansas in the past, hitting, but they're a much better hitting team this year. That'll be tough, even though it's here. State will be tough, too, because you got to go on the road. And, coming off getting 2 out of 3 this past weekend, they'll be ready to play. Fred in Ocala, is Sully shuffling players to stir things up and see who wants it more? No. Sully is putting in the best lineup he can on that day to win a game. That's what coaches do. That's what managers do. And look, part of what Sully's had to do is because of injuries, right? With no Cade Curlin, no Kyle Jones, no Ty Evans, he's had to really shuffle the lineup. Jen in Gainesville, softball team continues to play well, won 3 out of 4. How impressive have they been, even with missing Rothrock? Well, Rothrock's back, but they've struggled a little bit in the circle. Florida's had to sort of outslug teams here, and again, partly because of injury there. So you hope the Gators can get well and healthy in the circle and continue to hit the way they've hit. It's Alabama coming up this week. Mitch in Gainesville, SEC is dominating baseball with 7 teams in the top 10. What does this say about the SEC? They're dominant seemingly across sports. It just means more. What can you say? Pedro in Gainesville, A&M had 2 ninth-inning grand slams to complete the comeback against the Gamecocks and sweep them. Is this the year of the comeback? I don't know that this year's any different, Pedro. I mean, every year has comeback wins. The fact that A&M, which was the preseason number 1 team, got off to such a terrible start because of injuries, they're starting to play better. And when they're healthy, they're somebody you wouldn't want to play. Sydney and Hawthorne, Florida A&M, highly ranked in the early season, both struggled till last week, both making late surges. Which one can make Omaha? Ooh. I'll wait and see on that. I just, at this point, look, if Florida can get the kind of starts it got from Aiden King on Saturday and Liam Peterson on Friday, Sully, I think, is very confident now in Jake Clemente at the back of games. And if you start McNeely on Sundays, but some other guys are going to have to come through. Phil Pott has not done a good job. A lot was expected of him. He was going to be the closer. He struggled. So a lot of those young arms are going to have to do well if the Gators are going to make a run. Buster in Lake City, Alan Trammell recognized at the Mizzou game Saturday, I saw Coach Spurrier get emotional. Was Trammell a baseball and football player for the Gators? Yes, he was. And a very good two-way player at that. Very, very good when he played here. Ashton and Newberry, Taylor Shoemaker set the new program RBI record for a freshman at 61. Is she the best freshman Tim Walton's ever had? He's had a lot of good freshmen, Ashton, but she's one of the best. There's no question about that. I think the thing with Tim is consistency, recognizing talent, developing that talent, and then creating, I think, a terrific team atmosphere. Tim's great at that, at culture. And every team is different when it comes to that. But he's done a wonderful job with that. All right. We're going to take a break. We'll come back, and then Jeff is going to join us here. So stay with us as we continue with our On Deck show.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Over 2 decades, Miapa has been a staple in Alachua County. Start your day right at Miapa, where fast and affordable authentic cuisine awaits.
We're known for serving the best Cuban coffee.
Our secret is in every sip and every bite, bringing the flavor of our culture straight to your palate. Everyone is welcome at Miapa Latin Cafe. Visit us at one of our locations and let us take you on a journey full of flavor. Miapa Latin Cafe, where every bite is a taste of tradition.
At Comfort Temp Heating and Air, we're proud to celebrate 40 years as your #1 local HVAC company. We offer energy-efficient solutions featuring quality products from Lennox. Whether it's new installation, system repairs, or routine maintenance, we promise to never sell you anything you don't need. Our professional and experienced technicians provide reliable service you can trust and will keep you informed throughout the entire process. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Roos Ogra for your personal price plan today.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that builds commercial structures for contractors who expect unrivaled quality, including the head ball coach's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You only have one chance to make a building that holds up to the highest standards through all kinds of weather. Visit silverbackconcrete.co to see why they're the #1 choice in the Southeast. You stand on it, we stand by it. Silverback Concrete's got your back.
Don't settle for a knockoff diamond when you can get the best diamonds at the best price. International Diamond Center, located in Celebration Point. For quality, selection, and value, International Diamond Center, the official jeweler of the Florida Gators. Jeff, Steve, welcome into our show today. And don't forget, we're broadcasting live from Coach's podcast room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Watch us live on YouTube and Facebook. You can listen later on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcast, any of the nearly 40 platforms where you can find your favorite podcast. Like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We are taking questions and comments on Facebook Live. Simply just let us know in the comments section. Jeff, many people have talked about the sweep of Missouri, and certainly that's good. And we talked about it during the off-air in the broadcast that if Florida didn't win that last game, it was almost like even though you win the series, it would have been disappointing not to sweep. They almost had to have that sweep.
Yeah, because you're counting wins at this point. I mean, that's what you have to get, and there's still Arkansas and Texas on the schedule, so you've got to take advantage of every opportunity you can get. So, you look at Alabama now maybe a little differently than you did a couple of weeks ago. You get them at home at the end of the year. Florida probably playing better, so you might think, okay, there's a couple more wins, and then, of course, this weekend in Starkville is going to be huge trying to get a couple, but, they just won a couple on the road at Bama, and then, of course, you've got South Carolina that's struggling right now, but, yeah, after that, I mean, it's hard to think that Arkansas and Texas aren't going to sweep right now with the way that things are going. So you had to have that win, and really, really big that they were able to do it.
Again, I want to remind you about Questions of the Week, brought to you by Meldon Law. You can send questions to us at questions@gatorshows.com. Now it's time for Best and Worst of the Week, brought to you by Roos Ogra State Farm Insurance. State Farm agent Roos Ogra is your go-to agent in Gainesville and North Central Florida for the service you deserve at the price you want. Best and Worst.
I think best was just the entire day Saturday. Like, if you were a Gator, I mean, think about that. You got football, baseball, and basketball all in one place for the entire day. And, I mean, how rare is that? You always get football and baseball together with the spring game, but throwing basketball into that, I think it just really shows you how good the men's athletics have been at the University of Florida. You look at the last couple of decades now, I think everybody knows the 3 football, the 3 basketball national championships. No other school in the country has done that. Throw baseball national title in there. It's pretty special. And then, of course, you can count all the other ones too. But, when you're talking about the big 3 and all being at one place at one time, you had the opportunity to go to football and then hang out and watch all the basketball boys and then go over to baseball and get to be a part of that and win a couple of games. It was really cool. I don't think there's been many days like that I can remember, and been around here just like you for a really long time, that really showcased how special it is to be at the University of Florida.
Yeah, and I don't know what the worst of the week is. I mean, because of what you just said.
Yeah.
Right? Everything went well. So we'll go on now to our Coach of the Week, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, putting some star power to work in your financial life for 90 years. Campus USA Credit Union, Coach of the Week.
Yeah, I think you probably got to look at Butch at Auburn and what they were able to do in sweeping LSU. It's pretty special, and one of the more likable guys in the league. they've tried so hard, but they've now renovated their stadium. They've been doing a lot of different things. They had record crowds on the Plains, and to do that to LSU, a team that obviously was doing really, really good, you've got to give credit to not only the coach but the entire team, and they've worked really, really hard. Remember, that was the team that Florida beat in 2018 to go to Omaha, and he had it rolling. Everything was good, and then it's been some miserable years after that for Auburn, and he almost got fired. So to work real hard like the way they did, they've tried different pitching guys. Remember Tim Hudson, former big leaguer, came in there and coached him pitching for a little bit. So I think they're finally at the point where certainly they've got some NIL stuff figured out and doing different things. So Auburn's got the ability to be pretty scary once again.
I went out of the box here because what I try to do is look at the top 25 and go, that team wasn't.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky is in there, and Mark Rardin, R-A-R-D-I-N, is their head coach, done a heck of a job. Western Kentucky in the top 25 just speaks for itself, and you don't see them there very often. I like that, Jeff, when you see some different schools. Look, we all know how good the SEC is, but it's cool when schools like that can get in there. It's great for their fan base, too.
Well, especially nowadays with NIL, because those are the type of teams that lose all their dudes to be able to do that. So, yeah, a lot of props to go for those smaller schools. Even the school that the Gators are going to see tonight, Steve Trimper in Stetson, what he's been able to do and get him to a super regional once. No one would have ever have thought that over the last couple of years. So it's fun to see the little guys do some damage.
Team of the Week brought to you by Comfort Temp Heating and Air, your number one local HVAC company. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Comfort's our business, peace of mind, our promise. What do you got?
Well, I'll go to the big league level. Gosh, look at what the Padres are doing. I think that's, I was freaking out a little bit when they swept the Braves to start the year, and you're like, oh no, man, what's going on? But they haven't lost at home yet. And that's pretty special.
First time ever.
Yeah, 10-0 to get off to a good start. Their PA guy is actually a Gator, former Gator grad, Alex Miniak.
Yep.
So really cool to see that be a part of what they're doing out there. And everybody's hyped up the Dodgers certainly, but the Cubs smacked them around the other day. You never know with baseball, and if you get off to a good start like that, it makes a lot of things easier. So give credit to them because they were a team that. They've got some guys, and they went and got Jackson Merrill as a young guy, gave him a big contract, kind of that Braves philosophy of trying to get some of your younger guys. So look out for the Padres this year at the big league level.
I mentioned earlier, the Mets are off to a good start.
Yep.
So I don't have to be miserable, at least yet, because last year until I wrote them off. I just didn't think, but then they found that chemistry, and certainly Soto is going to help them in the lineup, and Alonso's had a good early year. Their pitching's been pretty good.
I think Pete's got the second best batting average in the league.
Yes.
So who would have thought
that, right? Yeah. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Much more to come on deck. Stay with us.
I'm David Steele, voice of the Gators in 1984, when Brian Nasworth began a new journey, opening Quality Plumbing.
And I'm Mick Huber. During my 33 years as voice of the Gators, I called championship games for football, basketball, and baseball. And at the same time, Quality Plumbing became champions for residents and businesses of Gainesville.
I'm Sean Kelly, and now I'm the voice of the Gators as Quality Plumbing celebrates its 40th anniversary. And for years to come, I'll be calling the games, and Quality Plumbing will continue to be the #1 plumbing company for Gator Nation.
CFC 043073.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Keith LeClaire.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for core power and rise to a whole new level of recovery. Protein to build muscle. Electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to power on. Champion your recovery with Core Power.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Florida Victorious is a powerful chapter in UF's NIL story.
We are
Florida Victorious.
Gator fans. Let's get on board now, okay?
Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators.
Well, fans, don't settle for a knockoff diamond when you can get the best diamonds at the best price. International Diamond Center, located right here in Celebration Point. For quality, selection, and value, International Diamond Center. It's the official jeweler of the Florida Gators.
All right, we appreciate you taking in our On Deck show for today. And we're going to do our relief pitcher of the week, brought to you by QC Kinetics. If you've got joint pain that won't go away, check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. Relief pitcher of the week.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one because now that Jake Clemente is that guy on the back end, Florida's got a chance. And I love the move. It was a conversation that Sully and the staff had a few weeks ago of trying to figure out what to do, especially because Philpott wasn't doing it on the back end. And, I mean, think about that. If you had a different closer at that point and Alex doesn't blow a couple of those games, you've got a couple more SEC wins. And we had already talked about the importance of counting SEC wins. So it's almost like that feel again of what happened last year when the Gators got on that run, Steve. Remember, they put Neely back there on the back end, and he could give you 3 innings if he needed to because he was a starter and wanted to be a starter. And Clemente wanted to be a starter, and that was his goal of coming in here this year and coming back from the Cape and having a good summer. But guess what? Sometimes it's just better in a different role. And I think you got to give credit to Kevin O'Sullivan for able to find that out and Coach Kopp and the rest of that staff just to talk about it, analyze it. And there's a different mentality. And I think he has that mentality similar to what Neely have. It's just like, hey, all right, here we go. Let's get after it. And he was probably a little more casual in the starting role. So you got to be that mean SOB sometimes and get after it. And when you step over that white line, he's been pretty dominant so far.
His body language is good.
Yeah.
You can, when he comes out of he's not cocky, but he's confident. And you can just sort of see that. Whereas a starting pitcher, he wasn't that. You could see his body language wasn't good. So, but you're right, Jeff. Credit the coaching staff. Credit David for doing that. And let's hope he does a good job at the end of that. I do want to mention, though, a guy I've mentioned before. And I know he doesn't pitch in a power conference, but his name is Jack Ullman. He pitches at Yale. He's pitched 47 innings, Jeff, as a reliever. He's 5-0. And in 47 innings, he's given up 1 earned run. That's
crazy.
In today's world,
Sure.
I don't care where you pitch. His ERA is 0.19.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's pretty good. Game of the Week brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Quality Plumbers, Gainesville's trusted for over 30 years. Quality Plumbing, their name says it all. Game of the Week.
Well, we mentioned Auburn already, and now they've got another big test. They go to Texas, and Texas, of course, maybe the best team in the country, and they've won a whole bunch of SEC games this year to be at the top of the conference. So is Auburn for real? Can they take what they did at home to LSU, take it on the road to Texas there and get some stuff done? I think that's the one that we'll be watching when we're in Starkville this weekend.
I agree.
See
Texas,
what happens.
Yeah, Texas #1 now.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's funny. You're going to get to go to Texas in a few weeks, and that's not going to be an easy series, obviously, but give them credit. And, of course, we all know who the coach is there.
Oh, yeah.
He has, wherever he's been really, really good. We will take a break. We'll come back. Much more to come on deck. Stay with us.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the hippie attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
At Comfort Temp Heating and Air, we're proud to celebrate 40 years as your #1 local HVAC company. We offer energy-efficient solutions featuring quality products from Lennox. Whether it's new installation, system repairs, or routine maintenance, we promise to never sell you anything you don't need. Our professional and experienced technicians provide reliable service you can trust and will keep you informed throughout the entire process. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise.
For over 2 decades, Miapa has been a staple in Alachua County. Start your day right at Miapa, where fast and affordable authentic cuisine awaits.
We're known for serving the best Cuban coffee.
Our secret is in every sip and every bite, bringing the flavor of our culture straight to your palate. Everyone is welcome at Miapa Latin Cafe. Visit us at one of our locations and let us take you on a journey full of flavor. Miapa Latin Cafe, where every bite is a taste of tradition.
The most important thing I learned from my father was work ethic and integrity. Never veer away from integrity, even if it costs you money.
International Diamond Center owner Keith LeClaire.
The core value for IDC is to protect the customer.
That means offering the largest selection, uncompromising quality, the strongest warranties, and honest guidance from experts who are not paid on commission. International Diamond Center at Celebration Point. Online, shopidc.com.
Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that builds commercial structures for contractors who expect unrivaled quality, including the head ball coach's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You only have one chance to make a building that holds up to the highest standards through all kinds of weather. Visit silverbackconcrete.co to see why they're the #1 choice in the Southeast. You stand on it, we stand by it. Silverback Concrete's got your back.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Well, it's time for the 7th inning stretch, courtesy of Miapa Latin Cafe. Discover 11 dishes, Cuban coffees at Miapa Latin Cafe. They've got 5 locations in Gainesville and Alachua. You are never far from the best Cuban food north of Miami. And Steve, it was good to finally give away some free Miapa again. That was awesome. It had been a while for winning at home, and I was wondering if we could double dip after winning both games of the doubleheader. Get over there and get two free Cuban coffees.
Yeah, we talked about that in the air, didn't we? Yeah. All right, Player of the Week brought to you by Florida Victorious. Game-changing plays, life-changing impact. Florida Victorious, proud partner of the Gators on and off the field. Player of the Week.
Yeah, look out. All of a sudden, Texas A&M's on a roll. Hopefully the Gators can kind of do the same thing. And the guy that led them was Blake Blenderup, and he was really good. 6-game hitting streak. He hit over 500 last week, hit a couple of homers, drove in 10, and they had a chance of losing to South Carolina. They hit 2 grand slams to come back and win that final game. So I would assume that they're kind of feeling the same thing that Florida does, is like, hey, there's not many opportunities left. We've got a pretty tough schedule, so we've got to win those games. So for them to do what they did and get back on track, they've won 6 in a row now, and all of a sudden the preseason #1 team in the country might be a tough out.
Waking up.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of injuries, too,
They did.
at the start of the year. That certainly derailed them a little bit. Softball review brought to you by Silverback Concrete. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. Gators victorious on the road, taking 2 out of 3. And, Jeff, it's funny sometimes. It's happened in baseball. I think it's happened in softball. Many people thought that baseball would be really good, getting people from the portal, but injuries sort of derailed that. Well, again, Gators softball ranked #1 in some preseason polls, ranked in the top 5 in everybody's, but they had some injuries, especially in the circle. That's derailed them a little bit, but hitting-wise, to make up for some of the pitching deficiencies. Man, they are swinging it.
Yeah, they really are. Mia Williams had another really nice weekend, and that's what you have to do at this point. You kind of establish an identity and see what's going on, and if you're going to struggle, you're going to have to score. I think we've seen that over the years, and I'm sure, and even Rothrock came back and got hit around a little bit. So it's just, I think it's going to be up and down until she kind of gets back in it and is able to do her thing. And maybe by the end of the year, she's healthy and everything's good and it's as expected, and that would be awesome. But, obviously Tim Walton knows what he's doing, and he's got a great lineup, and, they're playing better defense now on that left side of the infield than they were at the beginning part of the year. So, yeah, when it's all said and done, just keep going. And, they got a good test a couple of weeks ago when Arkansas came to town, and, were able to still manage a couple there. So, I mean, that's what it is. You got to grind. You got to get through it. And just like in baseball, that league is so tough.
Well, every team they play just about's ranked.
I know.
Right? So, to go on the road and beat a ranked team, Alabama is coming in now. So there's very little rest in softball, just like in baseball. Top 4 teams brought to you by Coke Zero. The new and improved recipe tastes like real Coca-Cola with 0 sugar and 0 calories.
Well, Texas, you mentioned, is now the new number 1, so you got to put them up there, what they've been able to do. Arkansas is still really legit. I mean, that lineup and the way that they can pitch, it's going to be scary. We'll get to see them in Gainesville here in a couple of weeks. And, again, you go in, you say, gosh, you'd always like to get 2 out of 3 at home. Now you're at the point where hopefully Florida can get 1. And then if you can go to Texas and win 1, it's almost like then you're stealing, because Texas never loses at home, just like Tennessee. Speaking of Tennessee, I think you got to put them in there. They were down again. Ole Miss had them on the ropes and took the lead, and then Tennessee came back and scored and ended up winning that series in Oxford, which we know is a tough place to play. So give a lot of credit to them. So that's, of course, 3 SEC teams. You don't want to be a homer, and I don't want to hype up Georgia because so we won't put them in there. But, yeah, how about Clemson, the team that the Gators beat to go to Omaha last year? They've been really, really good, and they continue to – and you could see that. You could see that they had some position players on that team that were really, really scary. And, they had an opportunity to beat Florida. Florida just outplayed them and did just enough because of what they were able to do. But I would expect Clemson to be in Omaha when it's all said and done. That's how good they're playing right now.
Yeah, their pitching's better, too. And I'm with – I can't quibble with any of that. But it's just so – fun to, it's nerve-wracking for teams and players and coaches and fans, but every week just about you're playing somebody really good. And let's take this weekend. Let's talk a bit about Mississippi State. They were not playing well. Mm-hmm. They're below 500 in the league, but sometimes it's when you catch a team. Would you want to play Texas A&M now? I wouldn't, right? A few weeks ago, sure. Well, State just won 2 out of 3, and they're playing at home, so this is going to be no picnic this weekend.
Yeah, and maybe people are saying that about Florida now because, hey, it's all of a sudden. And I think that's the key. Sully has been through this before, certainly, but I think they've also now been 3 or 4 weeks out of all these injuries and stuff going on, and you're at a point where, okay, here's what we do. And you get Nato out of the leadoff spot because he was struggling. So that probably helps him there on the back end. And then Bozer at the top spot, one of the better hitters you have for Florida right now. So you get more guys up to the plate in bigger spots. And, I think they're at a point now. But, yeah, that's exactly right. There's been so many times over the years when you look at stuff. And, let's take Missouri last year. We just happened to play them on the road when they were the best they were for like a 3-week span. And the rest of the year they were awful. Yeah. And Florida just happened to play them and got swept. So that was a big part of what happened. So it is when you play them, who's going hot right now. And I think, even for Tennessee, I think some of those guys are probably going to wear down a little bit. So it stinks that you had to play them earlier in the year because I think later in the year, all these innings that they're throwing on these guys that aren't used to it, they're probably going to wear down at that point. So we'll see what happens.
By the way, our Facebook and YouTube comments brought to you by Titan MRI. At Titan MRI, no insurance is no problem. Titan MRI has same-day scheduling available. You can call them up and start feeling better today. TitanMRI.com. We'll take our final break and wrap up our On Deck show for today. Don't go away.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Roos Ogra for your personal price plan today.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for core power and rise to a whole new level of recovery. Protein to build muscle. Electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to power on. Champion your recovery with Core Power.
I'm David Steele, voice of the Gators in 1984, when Brian Nasworth began a new journey, opening Quality Plumbing.
And I'm Mick Hubert. During my 33 years as voice of the Gators, I called championship games for football, basketball, and baseball. And at the same time, Quality Plumbing became champions for residents and businesses of Gainesville.
I'm Sean Kelly, and now I'm the voice of the Gators as Quality Plumbing celebrates its 40th anniversary. And for years to come, I'll be calling the games, and Quality Plumbing will continue to be the #1 plumbing company for Gator Nation.
CFC 043073.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Florida Victorious is a powerful chapter in UF's NIL story.
We are
Florida Victorious.
Gator fans. Let's get on board now, okay?
Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators.
International Diamond Center, the official jeweler of the Florida Gators. Visit us online at shopidc.com to see their selection of premier diamonds you can't get anywhere else. International Diamond Center, your family-owned diamond connection located at Celebration Point. And again, I want to remind you we're broadcasting from Coach's podcast room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point in Gainesville. Watch us on YouTube and Facebook. Listen later on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcast, any of the nearly 40 platforms you can access your favorite podcast. Like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and we appreciate you not doing that as Jeff and I talk baseball and softball with you. All right, we're going to head to Starkville to do the series this weekend. And look, I don't think a series is must win at this point, Jeff, but you certainly cannot get swept. You've got to at least take one on the road.
Yeah, knowing the record and where they are and who's still ahead on the schedule, I think it's almost the mindset of you got to try to take 2 out of 3. Yeah. And if the Gators can do that, and then you look ahead too and think about a couple at South Carolina, maybe now a couple at home against Alabama, well, that's 6 more. So then you're at 10, and then if you can get 1 against Texas and 1 against Arkansas, I think gets you to that 12 or 13 number. And to me, that's where it is, Steve. And we'll talk each week about that number and where it is. But, Florida can get to 12 with the strength of schedule. Remember, it's better this year than last year, at least from a record standpoint, too, and winning all these midweek games. That's why even Stetson tonight is really important. It's a team that is probably going to win their conference because of how good they are, and then that means they'll sneak into the tournament too. So that gives you more on the RPI side. And I think the Gators right now, high 20s, early 30s, and kind of wavering back and forth. But that puts you in, but you've got to get to that point. I mean, heck, look at the SEC basketball tournament. I mean, there was guys that made the NCAA tournament and with 6-7 conference wins out of all that. So it's a tough league, and I think nationally everybody will know that, and indication by what we're talking about with the top 4 teams. 3 of them are from the SEC. So, yeah, just try to take care of business. I think Sully's happy with the way they're playing. Everybody's understanding their roles now, and hopefully getting a little bit of healthiness to this roster and see what happens.
The point I want to make here, a couple of the questions, Jeff, that we got revolved around sort of lineup changes and such. Look, big league teams make lineup changes. How many years, go back and look in history, when you played, day 1 lineup isn't necessarily the same as game 50 lineup. Injuries, who's hot, who's not. So don't get concerned about that. Get concerned with who's out there, and hopefully they do well. And I think the committee last year, to your point, recognized the league that Florida was in and snuck them in. You don't want to put yourself in that position again.
No.
But I think if you get to 13 wins, especially in this league, you're going to be
lock it down. Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for our On Deck show for today. Our thanks to Zach Rothrock for producing it. We thank you for consuming it. We will do this again next week, and then Florida back home against a very good Arkansas team come next week. For Jeff, I'm Steve. Thanks for watching. See you later.
We thank you for listening to On Deck with Jeff Cardozo and Steve Russell, presented by the International Diamond Center. The show and the On Deck Show archive is available for you via podcast.